This is the briefing for Monday, August 25th. In Friday's briefing, I talked about the fact that the price development in Friday's trading was extremely strong, and it was accompanied by extremely strong internals. So Friday was a very, very strong day in terms of price development and market internals, supported by the market internals, I should say. But the condition that happened was that we reached a point, and I showed this chart in Friday's briefing, of being extremely overbought. And you can see this is the NYSE, this is an extremely overbought condition. This is the NASDAQ, an extremely overbought condition. Now, it is typical, or at least there's a higher probability that when we reach an extreme overbought or oversold condition, the market typically will pause or rotate, or there'll be some type of counter trend rotation that works off the overbought condition before the main trend re-exerts itself once again. And so that's basically what happened in today's trading. So you can see that we worked off a lot of the overbought condition. We're basically neutral in both the NYSE and the NASDAQ, which gives the opportunity for the market to go in either direction. Now, as we look at the charts, you can see this was the move. This was about a 9-point move from the close on Thursday. And that move is convictive buying. And so what's critical here is that people were so convinced after the Fed chairman's speech that value was higher, that they bought, and they bought very aggressively. So the key here now, at least the way I look at it and the way I basically come to trade, is that if this candle gets about 50% retraced, the probabilities are going to increase that people are not defending this price. If they thought this was so valuable going all the way up to about the 646 level, if they thought it was so valuable and they're not stepping in to buy more, then they're potentially going to have to sell, and that candle is going to get completely retraced. That would be a significant event to see this candle from the gap up on Friday, from about the 636 level up to about the, let's see, that selling tail came in right there, right about the 645 level. So that's really important. Now in the Qs, it's basically the same thing. You can see a rotation for most of the day on Friday, and then rotation today with a test of the lower extreme. Same thing with the Russell. Now, for my own purposes, I put this lower support level right below this candle here because I felt like this was just too short of a range in terms of the IWM representing the Russell. So it traded through 233, which suggests now that the potential or the next level of support is going to be somewhere about halfway down that candle. The same thing with the Qs, and the same thing with the spiders. Now the spiders had a pretty good sell-off going into the close today, so it's getting pretty close to trading at the 50% retracement level of this candle. So that's going to be important to watch in tomorrow's trading. Now, breadth was fairly negative in the S&P 500. You can see it was 304 shares negative in the S&P 500, about 1,500 shares in the NASDAQ, and about 1,100 shares in the Russell. Net volume was fairly negative as well. So the internals are weaker or show more weakness in the market than price development shows, at least as of today's trading. So it's going to be important to see what happens in tomorrow's trading. Now you can see how we reached this upper extreme right around the 648 level on Friday. This is Monday's trading. Not a whole lot of price development because we spent most of the day in rotation. Volume in the spiders fell off, 52-week highs minus 52-week lows fell off as well, and breadth negative 982. In the Qs, you can see basically the rotation that's occurring here, and you can see that right about the 584 level was upside resistance. Qs didn't quite make it. It was weaker. It was the weaker of the three indices. Volume falling off, breadth falling off well, and net volume negative also in today's trading. And in the Russell, you can see the Russell was really the stronger of the three indices on Friday, traded above this upper extreme at 232, and now we're back retesting that at the 232 level as well. Both volume falling off in the IWM, breadth falling off in the Russell, and net volume falling off also. So you can see today was a fairly weak day in terms of the internals, but it was not that weak in terms of price development. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what occurs in tomorrow's trading. Now, in terms of total volume, you can see this is NYSE volume, so you can see the trend is down, but you can see basically, even though volume was down in today's trading, there's a huge negative net volume in the NYSE and a huge negative net volume in the NASDAQ as well, even though NASDAQ volume was down also. Now, I should say that it is typical when you get into a rotational pattern for volume to fall off, because basically trade is being facilitated in this rotational pattern, and traders do not feel value is either higher or lower until, at least in the spiders, we got this breakdown going into the close. So what's going to be really important tomorrow is watch what happens at the 50% level of this candle. That can act as some type of support. So if it could reach that, and then we could see buying come in and see the market move back up again. Resistance is now 644 in the spiders. Support, right at support, 570 in the Qs. Resistance is going to be 574 in the Qs. Watch what happens if we trade through that and we trade to the 50% retracement level of this candle, and the IWM breaking through support at 233. That's now resistance. Watch what happens around at the 50% level. I didn't make those calculations, but you can do it pretty easily. Just subtract the high from the low and take a 50% of it and then add it to whatever this high is on Thursday's close. So Monday or tomorrow is going to be a very important day. These levels are going to be critical to hold, because if this convictive buying, if those buyers are not believing anymore that value is up in this level here, then they're going to start selling, and when they start selling, we'll likely see lower support levels tested as well. Have a great night, and I'll pick this back up again tomorrow.